What is going on, everyone? It's AP over here at Rumpier Sports. I'm here with my two guys. We're bringing you the Strokes Gained show. We are covering the Phoenix Open, Waste Management, Phoenix Open. It's been a long night, I had some nice sweats yesterday, and we had the NBA winners going on, and it was a ton of fun. But tonight, we're going to be breaking down, talking about PGA winners. It's been all right, guys. Before we jump into this, I think I'm 0-2 over the last 2 weeks. It's been returning nothing, and it's fine. It's early in the golf season. I am still 100% confident. Tell me about your weeks. Hopefully you had a better week than me. Uncle T, let's start with you.
Yeah, good to be back on with you two guys, breaking down this waste management. As far as last week, it wasn't a bad week for me at all. As I mentioned to you guys off air, I went with Patrick Reed.
Yeah, you rostered a cheater, didn't you, right?
A cheater. Hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Yeah, but good for you, Uncle T.
Yeah, we'll talk about that maybe as we get, maybe go along if we got a few minutes. But I had Patrick Reed a little bit, and I had Xander up top. So those were my two guys last week over 10K, and obviously both of them clearly panned out for me. I had Adam Scott in the core play that obviously played pretty well as well. The one guy that kind of let me down a little bit was Hideki, and then Gary Woodland. And then I also had, I'm trying to remember Charles Howell III. Has never missed a cut there. Missed the cut that really hurt my main lineup. But overall, it was a good week for me. And again, looking forward to breaking down. This starts a great stretch of golf, as we talked about last week on the show. And it's just going to be a fun 2 months leading up to the Masters. So looking forward to breaking this one down with you guys.
Yeah, I agree. I had no shares of Patrick Reed at all, and my lineups were all 5 or 6, and I think I bubbled again. I think I returned a little bit, but it was definitely not a good week. Hoop, what about you? How was your week last week?
Well, my week definitely wasn't as good as your night last night. You said you had some sweats, but first off, congratulations on the 50K winner there in NBA. You work super hard on our playbook every single slate, and the hard work finally paid off last night. A big 50K win, so congratulations. In terms of my PGA, it's easily summed up in basically one sentence. If Patrick Reed wins a tournament, Hoop is not going to do very well, and that's what happened last night. Last week, Patrick Reed won. Hoop did not have a good week at all. It's very simple. I'm not going to be on Patrick Reed all that often. He cheated his way to victory. Although I will say, I pounded the guy. I thought it was complete crap. When you watch the tape, obviously his reputation made it way, way worse, because you watch the tape, he walks up to the ball, asks the guy right there. The guy says, yeah, it didn't bounce or anything. So at that point, you're taking there's no fans or anything. No one else can really have their input. You're taking what this guy says. The guy said it didn't bounce, so he, immediately picked up the ball. Rory did the exact same thing, but didn't ask anyone and went over there and picked up the ball, and no one said a damn word. I mean, I hate Patrick Reed, don't get me wrong, but how the hell does Rory get the free pass doing something? It was even worse. I'm pretty sure Rory didn't even ask. He just picked it up, right, Uncle T?
Yeah, he did, and I think a lot of this, guys, and you guys will agree, I'm sure, is past reputation, right? You know what I mean? Like, he's got a reputation, and it's probably why you guys don't like him. I don't care for him, but again, whatever puts Benjamins in my pocket, I'm going to go with him. But yeah, you're right. Rory did basically the exact same thing. I think actually he talked to his playing competitors, that were walking with him. Right? He just didn't bring a rules official over. So, you can go back and forth on it. I mean, there's no way you can embed a ball after it bounced once. There's just no way. So I think both of them were in the wrong.
So the best was his tweet where he went off in all caps and he's like, Rory did the same thing.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's honestly true. And Rory gets the free pass.
Didn't he clean his ball too? That's the big no-no.
Yeah, I think if Reed guys wouldn't have moved the ball and actually did everything else the way he did it, I don't think anyone really would have said much of anything, to be quite honest. It was just the fact that he moved it. I was watching it live and I was like, what is it? Like, there's no one in the room watching with me. I'm talking out loud like, why did he just move that ball? You know what I mean? It was crazy. So I think if he wouldn't have moved the ball, I think everything would have been good, but you just can't do what he did, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I hear you guys. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get into the Waste Management Phoenix Open at TPC Scottsdale. It's Super Bowl week, everyone, and go Chiefs, baby. At Run Pure Sports, we have a ton of content that's coming out for the Super Bowl. We're going to be covering it from many different angles, and part of it is we're collaborating with Roto Grinders. BigT and Head Chopper are going to be breaking down the Showdown slate. I'm really excited for that. I used to watch their shows all the time. It's just good stuff. And I know we're going to find some winners from that. So if you're not a member, please use the code, coupon code Workbench21. It's going to get you 25% off your first payment. And come check us out. I mean, NBA is on fire. PGA is going to be on fire here soon. I promise you that. It always takes me a week or two, or I mean, an event or two to get it dialed in, and then it's a print fest. So I'm pumped. And if you haven't yet, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free. All right, boys, let's dive in. And first, Uncle T, I'm going to kick it to you. Give us a little breakdown of TPC Scottsdale. What are you expecting this week? What's the course like? How's the weather? The floor is yours.
Yeah, first off, the weather looks great for all 4 days. No rain really in the forecast at all. Very little wind. Obviously, it's Tuesday night. That could change as far as the wind, but it doesn't look like any rain at all. We could actually have a little bit of a possible delay with possibly fog one or two mornings, possibly. That's the only thing that could happen is they move tee times back, maybe, if that happens. But no, as far as the course, it's always, guys, one of my favorite tournaments to watch and to play DFS wise. It's a fun tournament. It's usually, now the real big difference is usually they draw around 600,000 spectators for the 4 days. Guys, they're getting 5,000 a day here. So it's definitely going to be, clearly, like all these tournaments, it's going to be a lot different look on TV, especially the 16th, the par 3 16th, where obviously that's the stadium where, it just gets nuts. It's just crazy there. So obviously that won't be happening. But as far as the course itself, a little bit different than the last couple of weeks that we've had, right? Even though they've been kind of birdie fest at the Hawaii tournaments, and then last week it wasn't really a birdie fest. What was it? Reed was 13 or 14 under. This course a little bit different. Off the tee, you're going to be able to hit driver a lot more here, which is when I get to some of my plays and some of the guys I like and I'm targeting. I like guys that are able to hit driver on almost all the holes they want to hit driver. And a lot of courses don't give you that. The rough isn't as penal. You're allowed to hit it out there, and it's not as tree lined off the tee as those courses the last couple weeks. So, and then, kind of lastly, it's a par 71. It's about 72, almost 7,300 yards. But the interesting thing here is, more than probably any course that I can think of, there might be one I just can't think. You don't need to really be a good putter here, as crazy as that sounds. You know what I mean? You've got guys in the past, Hideki twice, Fowler. I know Webb won it in the playoff last year. You don't have to be like inside the top 5, maybe 3, or even tops in putting to win this tournament. So for me, I'm going to be going on strokes gained, kind of off the tee, guys that are good at hitting it out there. And then the approach game is where I'm really going to kind of dial in on, and guys that can get the ball close. They're nice greens to hit, but you got to get it in there a little bit closer. You won't see a lot of 25, 30, 35 foot putts held on these greens, I don't think, unless you're going to get a couple, but I think you got to get it inside 10, 15 feet here. So that's course breakdown. The one last thing I will mention is the last 4 holes are a lot of fun. You've got a par 5 15th that has water. I talked about the par 3 16th that brings a lot of, obviously, drama. And then the 17th hole is a drivable par 4. So that obviously brings a risk reward factor in, where, again, if guys are trying to make up a stroke or two, they're going to go for it. Maybe if they're trying to hold a shot or two lead, maybe they play a little more passive. And then the 18th hole is got water left. So you can't go water, hit it left off the tee on 18, or you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. And the most important thing is the event will be over before the Super Bowl starts, correct? Isn't that how they always do it?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
So I always love this event because we got the Super Bowl and we're sweating golf. So I'm always extra dialed in with my builds, because I'm like, man, Sunday is going to be so fun. Hopefully I'm sweating, 6 figures or something like that. Then when you go into the Super Bowl, and I'm already usually hammered, and I'll definitely be hammered this year, I can tell you that. All right, so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go tier by tier, and we're going to kick it back and forth, and we're going to talk about the players that we like. I am going to start with my man Hoop. Let's talk about the 10K and up range. Who do you like here? Which stud are you leaning on?
Yeah, so I mean, you basically have 5 guys to choose from up top over 10K. You got Webb Simpson coming off the win here last season. It's kind of ironic that he got the win here because this is a course, like Uncle T said, where you're going to be pulling out the driver a lot, and these are courses that we typically don't really go to Webb Simpson on. We prefer Webb on the precision type courses. Don't get me wrong. I mean, to me, Webb is a top 10, top 12 guy on the tour, but his skill is different than these other guys at the top. Maybe people go here because he did win last year. I'll be off him at 10-1. That's just a little bit too much. Rory, boys, I'm starting to think he doesn't belong in this tier. I mean, you guys can correct me if you want, but I mean, he just doesn't get it done. And, T16 last week, he was hovering around. When he gets close to that lead, he falls apart. If he's out of contention, he'll fire a huge round on Sunday and make the results look a little bit better than they were. I'm starting to think he doesn't belong in this tier, and until he proves me wrong, I'm not going to play him, or the price comes way down. So at 10-6, I'm going to be off Rory. Love AP. I mean, man, AP, you got to be pumped, man. Justin Thomas back in the event, potentially, in the winner circle Sunday. Justin Thomas, got your Chiefs playing right after. Could be a big weekend for AP, following up the big 50K win last night. I love JT at 10-8. It's a really good course. Now Xander's a guy. I mean, he's been amazing. Don't get me wrong, but he finally got this big price bump. He's finally up here with the big boys. He's always been a tier behind the big boys. Now he's right in there. He's only 200 below Rahm. I love Xander. Don't get me wrong, and I think he is clearly a top 5 golfer. Like, I think he is definitely a top 5 golfer. I'm just going to side with Jon Rahm in this situation. $200 apart. I mean, Rahm is just so steady. Definitely, Rahm is my favorite up here. JT is my second, and those are probably the only 2 I'll play. I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys say about Rory, but I mean, at this point, I don't think he belongs in a tier with these top guys. Like, to me, Xander's a better golfer straight up than Rory. JT definitely is. Rahm definitely is. I got to see something out of Rory before I roster him. And I mean, you're talking about this tier of guys who are consistently right in there to win it. Rahm, Xander, these guys are in there. JT, any event, for the most part, they're there. Rory, if he gets there, if he gets close, he falls apart. And like I said, if he's playing from behind, he fires a good round to make his results look better. Screw Rory. I'm done with him. But it's Rahm and JT for me up here.
Yeah, I mean, with Rory, his approach game is not as elite as it once was, and his putter isn't getting it done. So I got to agree with you there, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, man, if I'm not playing, we all know who I'm playing this week. But before I give my comments, let's kick it over to Uncle T. I really agree with Hoop. Last week you were different than us, and you were right with Patrick Reed. Is that going to be the same case this week with Webb or maybe Rory? Talk to me about this range.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it 3 for 3 on the panel here, to be honest with you guys. A lot of what Hoop said, I totally agree with. And as we take them one by one, starting from the top, again, I faded kind of those top couple, going a little bit down with Xander and Patrick Reed last week, but I'm not going to do it this week, guys. I think Rahm, he just he is completely, he's 11-2 up there. And honestly, I'd probably pay 11-5, 11-6 for him this week. And I just think he's good off the tee, obviously. His last 4 tournaments are 7th, 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 and 2nd. All 4, or his last 4 trips here, he's 15th or better. Like, he is just primed to finally win this tournament, one that he's familiar with, one that he's comfortable playing on. I really like Jon Rahm up top, and I generally don't try to go all the way up top for the most part. I try to go down a little bit. I'm going to have a hard time coming off of Rahm. Xander, I was on last week, but like Hoop said, with the price bump, I just don't know that I can't play all these guys. I'm not playing all 5 of them. I'll probably pick 2 of them. I'm not going to go to Xander, but not because he's not a good play. He came through for me last week. But again, the price bump, he's only $200 cheaper than Rahm. I'll definitely side with Rahm there. JT is my boy. Me and AP are two of the biggest fans of JT. He missed the cut on the number over in Abu Dhabi last week. So, that was a long trip over back to the United States. And, I think he's rested, you know what I mean? And he finished 3rd at the Century. He finished 3rd both or the last 2 trips here to TPC Scottsdale. So nothing not to like about JT. Could easily see him throw up low number after low number this week. Rory is a guy I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And a lot of the reasons that Hoop mentioned, you want to talk about a guy that I actually like. He's been one of my favorite players, and I roster him a lot. But I was doing some research the last couple of days. He has not won a tournament in 15 months. Okay. So again, when we're talking about winning tournaments or guys up here at the top with these prices, they have to win tournaments for us. They're, a 15th or a 20th isn't getting it done when we're paying premium dollar for these guys. And for a guy, it's crazy to say he doesn't have the win equity right now. He hasn't proven it. So he doesn't have the win equity that Rahm or Thomas or even Schauffele have up there. So for me, it's going to be a tough fade because he could easily burn us. He hasn't played here before, which kind of scares me because first timers typically play pretty well here, but I'm going to fade Rory and Webb Simpson. I'm out on just because, again, I don't want to play three guys up here. He's the defending champ. So for me, I'm out on Webb just for that reason, but Rahm and Thomas are the two up top for me this week.
Yeah, we all agree. For me, it's Justin Thomas, and it's clear he's, him and Rahm are clearly the two top guys, two best golfers in this field, closely followed by Xander Schauffele. And man, I think it's kind of egregious that JT is priced under Xander. I get it. He probably deserves to be priced under Rahm, right now. But man, I'm definitely going to have, what I might do this week, just with how this week is setting up. Like, I got to just lock JT in 100%. Like, I just got to do it. I'll try to see it.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, so like,
no, you're not doing that,
go,
are you?
What, 3 builds, 3 to 5 builds? I'm not like a big MME guy. I thought about dabbling a little bit, but up top, you got to pick your spots. Like Rory, easy fade. Webb won last year. I think he's an easy fade. It becomes tough between Rahm and JT because they give you so much win equity. In Xander, what our guy, or the old man, Coop. Oh man, he's gonna be pissed at that one. He always says, Xander never wins, but what he does do is he gets second in top fives all the time, and you do that's all you need. Like Rory getting his 15th and 16th and 20th, that's not getting it done. Xander does get it done, so I'll give him that. But for me, I'm locking in JT. I have to. I love Rahm too. I might sprinkle him in, but only if I can play JT and Rahm, which I don't think is going to be viable this week. So it forces my hand. I got to go with my boy JT. I'm locking him in. Let's move to this 9K range. Hoop, I'm going to start it with you, man. Talk to me about this range. Who do you like? Are you fading a bunch of guys in this range? Or are there some clear, easy plays?
Yeah, so I mean, you talked about locking in JT, and I'm going to play JT. I'm going to play Rahm, and because of the lack of excitement for me in this range, I'm going to have a lot of Rahm and I'm going to have a lot of JT. I don't love this range, and I'm going to do everything I can to get up to the Rahms, to get up to the JTs at a higher clip before I settle on one of these, 9K guys. The one that does stand out and I like quite a bit is Daniel Berger. I think he is a really good golfer. He has been probably, outside of those top tier guys, outside of the Rahms, outside of the Dustins, since the restart last year, I mean, he's been probably the most consistent golfer week in and week out. Just a top 20 machine, a ton of top 10s. So at 9.6, I like him the most in this range by a lot, actually. When I start going through his names. Hideki at 9.8, I know he has success at this course. I'm just not going there. I don't like what I've seen out of him the last couple of weeks, and he's, for me, a field golfer. I mean, I want him to, and you got to be price sensitive with Hideki because his results are, it's all over the map when you talk about Hideki. So at 9.8, I'm going to be out on him. I'm going to be in on Berger. The other guy in this range that I have some interest in is I'm going to ride this Zalatoris wave. I mean, he's a guy that's supposed to make the big leap this year. He looked really solid last week with a T7. He's just a well-rounded golfer, and I kind of feel like at this course he could kind of do some damage. So at 9K, I like him, but for me in this range, it's really only going to be Berger. It's going to be Zalatoris. Scheffler, another miscut. I'll be off of him. Ryan Palmer has been playing pretty well, but I mean, I'm not paying 9.2 for Palmer. I mean, he's been good, but this is not a range where we typically see Palmer English, the results haven't really been great lately. Sungjae, sure. I mean, maybe. I mean, if you're gonna do some big MME stuff, like if I am personally, I don't know if I'm not big MME this week. If I do, maybe he stays in the player pool. But for me in this range, the two that definitely stand out are Berger. I just think he's a really good golfer. I think he's really steady. I think he can find success at this course. A little bit cheaper than those top guys, similar upside, I feel. So it's going to be Berger. And I'm going to ride Zalatoris. I mean, like I said, he's the guy that's supposed to get the, kind of take that big leap this year. And so far, so good. A T7 last week. We'll see what he does this week. I'm gonna pay the price and see what he's made of. So, Berger, Zalatoris.
Yeah, I can't complain. And I think you make a lot of good points about this range. It's just there's a lot of guys that honestly are priced higher than what I would like compared to some of the guys we have down in the 8K range. So, I'm kind of in agreement with you there. Uncle T, what about you? Is there anyone you're locking in? Anyone that pops out in this range?
Yeah, I got to agree with Hoop again here. 2 tiers in, and we're in agreement so far. Up top with Hideki, I initially liked Hideki, looked at a lot of the, the course history stats, things like that, and I liked him. But I think at 9.8, I just think he's a little bit too high for me. Again, you can go up a little bit to get Simpson or JT. And then my favorite guy, you just go below 200, like Hoop mentioned, and go to Danny Berger, who I could easily see win this week. He's made 19 out of his last 20 cuts. Again, he's a top 10, top 15 machine at 9,600. He's at a course that he's comfortable with. Good with his irons, good putter. So really like Daniel Berger. Sung Jae Im, I was reading something, we talk about it all the time on the show. He never takes a week off. And even though it's been a small sample since, the Hawaii tournaments, what's this, a 5th tournament or so of the year, but him and Richie Rowinski, who is a RPS guy, those are the only 2 guys that have played every week. So I want to see how long M goes, in this season without taking a weekend off. But anyway, nothing wrong with him. I just think at 9,400, again, I like Berger too much ahead of him. And again, if I'm going to play Rom and JT, similar reasons to Hoop, you can't really have a whole lot of interest in this range. Harris English, he's been playing some good golf, but he's paired with Rory and JT. And I'm not usually a narrative guy like that to see who guys are paired with. But, last week, Matt Wolff, who we'll get to in a moment, played with the 2 GOATs last week. And I think he got his feelings hurt with that 79, a little bit more than his wrist. And I'm not real happy with him still. But, so I'm out on English. Palmer, I'm out on. It's just too high of a price for Palmer. The 2 guys I am, interested in are Zalatoris for sure. I had a sprinkle of him last week, and he came through for me. Guys, this guy is going to be a stud. He's going to be the next, kind of a big thing coming from the Korn Ferry Tour. He's a tall, lanky guy, hits it long off the tee. He doesn't have any course history here, which, like I said, doesn't really bother me. He's not a great putter right now, but again, those things don't bother me this week. So I do like Zalatoris at 9K, and we could be talking about him in a month where maybe he's $9,500, $9,600, $9,700. So I think we're buying in, even though he's 9K, I think we're buying in a little bit low on him from where his ceiling could be in a couple weeks. The guy that I'm unsure of at this point is Scheffler. I don't know if my builds will get to him, but he missed a cut last week after shooting, I think 7 under the first day, and then he shot like a 79 to miss the cut. So he's a guy that usually hits the ball well off the tee, which I like here, but I just don't know if I can go back to him at $9,100. If he was a few $100 cheaper, I might be interested. But for me, same guys as Hoop, Berger and Zalatoris, 1 and 2.
Yeah, I agree about Hideki. Like, he's kind of like Rory, like our comments about Rory, like he's just not getting it done, yet he continues to be priced like way up. And it's just like, man, until he proves us otherwise, he's probably someone to move off of. Now, like, the only argument that you can make is he's won this event twice and has really good course history. Hasn't been as good of late, though. And so, I mean, I don't know. I like if I'm locking in JT or Rom, which it's going to be JT, and then if I go Hideki, I'm kind of handcuffed with this upper 8K range, which we'll get to, because I don't think I can fit another guy into my build on DraftKings. So I'm out on Hideki as well. Honestly, I want to be out on most of this most of this range except for Zalatoris. So I hate agreeing with you guys, but man, kid looks good. I feel like at 9K, he's going to get up. Like, I don't think he's going to kill us. He's going to make the cut. He's a very good cut maker. I think he's made, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like 19 to 20 cuts or something. I mean, the guy he gets it done. And, he's looking to prove himself. And correct me if I'm wrong again, because I'm going off memory. Isn't he from the area or lives in the area in Phoenix? I could be way, way off on this. I thought I read it.
Who are we talking about, AP?
Zalatoris.
That I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I know there's a couple of California guys. Max Home was one for sure.
That lives there?
I don't know about Zalatoris.
Well, I'm going to pretend that he's practiced there or something. No, but, whether he has or not, I think his game is phenomenal. And, the comments on Ryan Palmer, the guy's been playing really good. He's going to get some ownership. I just feel like he's peaking right now, and I haven't really been on him. So, like, why would I get on him? If you've been playing him and he's doing good for you, keep playing him. But if you haven't been playing him, why get on him, at a premium? It's kind of like, buying that doggy coin or Dodge or whatever they call it when it's at its height, or, all the stocks that we saw this week, buying AMC, at its peak. Like, well, just don't do it. And so I view that like Ryan Palmer. I haven't been playing him. I'm not going to play him now when he's 9 point whatever K. And if he burns me, he burns me. It is what it is. So for me, pretty simple. I'm fading most of this range. Zalatoris I like, and I agree with you, Uncle T. I don't quite know what to do with Scheffler. Just real quick, who is your main guy in this range?
Yeah, it's Berger and Zalatoris, and I feel very good about those guys, and I feel very good about fading the other guys in this range. So, I mean, honestly, this week, the more I go through this player pool, I'm going to have probably the smallest player pool that I've had in a DFS event in a long time. I mean, I feel very good about the guys I like, and I feel very good about the guys I'm fading. And I'm riding my guys this week, and I'm not going to just play someone to widen my player pool. Like, I feel good about this week. I really do. And like in this range, it's Berger, it's Zalatoris. I really like those guys. And like I said, I feel really good about fading the other ones. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Uncle T, you're 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely Berger 1. And again, not to, kind of, have everybody agree, but yeah, definitely Berger 1 and Zalatoris 2 for the reasons Hoop mentioned. And my player pool from the 8K range up is going to be very, very small, because I like a lot of guys in that 7K range. So it's going to work out good for me this week.
Yeah, I like
as far as roster construction. I
got you. I think I'm just going to go with the 1, and that's Zalatoris. I could still find myself fading this whole range entirely. Let's move down to that 8K range, which I think I'm going to have a lot of plays down here. Some that, I don't know. There's a couple of guys down here that I really like. I don't think they're going to be too high owned, and I think they have a ton of win equity. Hoop, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about the 8K range.
Yeah, there's a few guys I like and a lot of guys I don't like. I'm going to start. I'll just go, start at the top. I'm not a Louis guy. Certain courses I'll be on Louis. This is not one of them. Brooks Koepka, I cannot. I know the price has come down a little bit. I cannot imagine clicking his name. He's looked pretty terrible, and he's going to have to get something going at some point before I, trust putting him in my DFS lineups. Your boy Matty Wolf hurt my feelings last week. I need a week off after that. I had a really good team on FanDuel. He was in my cash team. The team was looking good. Still did good despite how bad he did. I still made money on my Matty Wolf team on FanDuel, but he as bad as his feelings were hurt playing with those guys, as Uncle T said, Hoop's feelings were hurt for having him in my FanDuel lineup. So I'm gonna take a break on him. You guys know, I don't want to give this spiel on Ricky Fowler. You guys know my stance on him at 8-6. Like, to me, he should be like 7-6. I believe he has some course history here. Don't care. Not going to play him. Bubba Watson is just, I was on him last week. He is a guy I just never get right. So he's working his way into the Hoop permanent fade list. He's working his way into the Ricky Fowler category for me. So I'm off him. I'm off Horschel. I'm going to go back to Gary Woodland. Those two middle rounds were painful, round 2 and round 3, but a lot of guys struggle. I mean, there are a lot of guys struggling at that course last week, and the weather was a little wonky. He looked really good in the opening round. He was fine in the 4th round. That's kind of what you get with Gary Woodland, but I think he kind of gets back to being that cut maker guy that we've grown to love. So I'm gonna stay back. I'm gonna stay on Gary Woodland at 8-3. Brian Harman is the other guy in this range that I like. I just think he's better than the price tag indicates. Like he's always in this range, and he finds a way to compete in these events. And I just think he's a better golfer. So at 8K, I'm going to be on Harman, and in this range, that's probably it. It's going to be Woodland. It's going to be Harman. I was looking at Henley a little bit, but he's kind of really up and down. I mean, maybe it's all right for GPPs. When he does make the cut, he tends to be in contention. So maybe I'll be on Henley a little bit in tournaments. But the guys I really like in this range are going to be Woodland and especially Harman. Harman's a guy I typically roster. He's a guy I like, and like I said, I just think he's better than a lot of guys that he's typically priced around. So once again, like the range above, I feel good about the guys I'm fading, and I feel pretty good about the ones I'm playing. So yeah, 2 or 3 guys in this range is probably going to be the most for me. I'm going to have a very small player pool, like I said, this week.
Yeah, I like that. And man, you didn't mention Ricky Fowler. Are you going to be playing? Former winner.
Oh, I mentioned. I moved past him quickly. You're used to when I talk about Ricky Fowler, I just go off the rails. I took the responsible approach. I said I'm not going to give you my full spiel on Ricky. You guys know my stance, and it hasn't changed. When it changes, you'll know.
I must have missed that part because I was before I got to my comments, I was seeing if it actually worked, and it does. Oh, I can't wait to get to this. So I'm going to kick it to. This is a build path that I just have to lock in now. Like if the week either it's going to either the Chiefs are going to lose and these guys are all going to suck. They're all my 3 boys. I just feel like, I got to roll with it. Throw out the stats, throw out everything, and just rock and roll with it. But first, Uncle T, Hoop made a lot of good points in this range. Talk to me about the guys that you're on. You said you didn't like this range. You like the 7K range, but there are a couple guys that you're on.
Yeah, definitely. And, with Hoop and I both liking a couple of those guys above them, it's not really a strong range. You're right for me. When you go to the top, I just think 8,900 for Louis. He hasn't played a ton and doesn't play a ton anymore. He kind of handpicks his tournaments. Clearly he likes playing here, or he wouldn't come. But, at $8,900, I just feel like he could be $600, $700, $800 overpriced. I'd maybe be interested if he was in the low 8Ks, but definitely not in at 8,900 when I can go $100 more and get Zalatoris. So out on him. I couldn't imagine playing Brooks right now. 3 straight missed cuts. And he may get it together, and he probably will for sure. I probably won't be on him that first week that he does because I'm just going to keep fading him, until he can at least make a cut. We're not even talking about top finishes. His price has come down to where it's trying to tempt people to take him. I'm not going to fall for it. So out for him. I don't know how long we got on the show for me to talk about Wolf, but again, I don't know. I mean, I'm not faulting the guy. I actually like him as a golfer. He just crushed my feelings last week. I had a solid team going. I had, like Coop said, I even had him on FanDuel as well. And he just hurt my feelings so bad. But, again, a lot of times I'm a guy that doesn't, penalize a guy for one missed cut. I usually like to come back with guys. But if it is something serious that could linger, maybe I want to be out on him until he can get right. So Fowler's on that list with Jordan Spieth and Jason Day that, they're always going to make the fades for RPS until they start, obviously playing a little better. Bubba Watson, a little bit different take than Hoop on this. Bubba's actually one of my favorite plays in this range. Again, like I mentioned earlier in the program is, I like guys that are good off the tee, and he gains a lot of strokes off the tee, can bomb it out there. And, if he could ever get hot on the greens, I mean, he's got good course history here already. I could easily see him in the hunt on Sunday, in the last couple groups where he can make a run and win this thing. So I do like Bubba Watson. Billy Horschel I'm out on. I just feel like he's overpriced. 8,400 for Billy Horschel in a pretty strong field here. It's a pretty loaded field here, in my opinion, at the Waste Management. And I just think, again, he could be in that high 7K range instead of 8,400. So I think he's overpriced. Gary Woodland's an interesting one. I was on him a couple weeks ago when he missed the cut. And then he finished 48th last week and really didn't do much on the weekends after the good, strong start. I don't know what I'm going to do with Woodland. I'll be, full transparency. I just don't know what I want to do with him. Russell Henley, I don't mind Russell Henley, but again, my builds probably won't take me there. It does good strokes gained approach, which I kind of like here, but he's kind of in a dead range. Siwoo Kim may be the only guy down in the low 8K range that I might be interested in. I don't know if you guys watched it last week, but he was on 18, ready to tee off and teed off. And then like 2 seconds later, they blew the horn with the weather, right? So he, when the wind was going crazy. So he teed off. I'm not sure if he hit it out of bounds or not. Ends up making double. He had 2 shots to play with. I think ended up making double, missed the cut. Sets up good for this course, I think. So even though he hadn't had good course history, I think he's a lot different golfer today. So I don't mind him, and never mind Brian Harmon. He's probably one of the safer plays on the board.
Yeah, I did not see that with Siwoo, but I know our guy Coop was talking Siwoo up, and you got to like his form coming in. So I agree with a lot of those plays, man. So look, Brooks Koepka is just both of you guys are off of him, and you have valid points. Okay, I 100% agree with that. He's just staring me in the face. 8,800. No one's gonna play him. He's won this event back in 2015. All right. So if you're Brooks Koepka, you miss 3 straight cuts in a row. At some point, this is a 4-time major champion, a dude that can just turn on a dime. You're going to look yourself in the mirror and just be like, man, I suck. I got to figure this out. What a great course to figure out your game. A course that you previously won. It's golf, 8,800. You can fit him easily with Justin Thomas. I kind of like it. I know it's dirty. I agree with you guys. He hasn't looked good. I'm searching for something that looks good in his game, and his putter actually. He went through that stretch where he could not make a putt. He was missing 7-foot putts, 8-foot putts. But his putter has been the one spot that's looked decent. It's been his ball striking that's really bad, which definitely is a concern. I don't know. I think I'm going to hop on Brooks Koepka this week because what do you guys think his ownership's going to be? Under 5%? I don't think anyone's going to play him.
Oh, it's going
to be seeing maybe 7-8% is what I was showing.
I think it's going to be really low.
Yeah, I even think under 7 or 8. I think he's going to be no one's going to play him. Have
you got confirmation that his lady is not with him this weekend? Is that why you like him?
I have not.
Because usually when he's got the lady with him, he doesn't have a whole lot of interest. So
if he stays off the workbench, he has a chance.
Right.
The other thing for me is, so Matt Wolff. I want to dive into the injury a little bit more. Do you guys know? I know he's had wrist injuries in the past. Do you know if this is something that's lingering? Do you know if there's any other information out there about?
I think Uncle T nailed it. He got his feelings. He got his feelings hurt.
If that's the case, I can play Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, and Matt Wolff, and have 7,300 left per position on DraftKings. I feel like my research is done. I'm just. Can I talk you?
Can I throw one more thing in, AP?
Hop on in. You can talk me off the ledge.
I didn't mention this on Wolff because I asked you guys how long we had for me to talk about Wolff. I know we got the rest of the show to do, but I got some more data on Wolff. So, why would you play a guy? I'm just throwing this out there. Why would you play a guy that has been, he missed the cut last year there, 50th the year before. But he had a second place finish at the Shriners in early October. Hasn't had better than a 40th place finish since. So what would you have to hang your hat on? Again, he could easily be fine. We're throwing picks out and our opinions. Clearly he could play well. But for me, I just can't click it knowing that he hasn't done anything for 4 months. The stats are what they are. So I just can't do it. I agree that he's going to be low owned and he should be low owned. So if you're going GPP and you like to sprinkle him in, I have no problem with it, but I just can't do it.
So, in trying to come up with narratives or something, I know this is where he debuted his PGA, his first event on tour. Kind of interesting, whatever. The other guy, though, I'm seriously considering is Bubba Watson. And that gives me some additional salary relief down there. Or going back to Gary Woodland. So, like, I don't have to go Matt Wolf and Brooks Koepka. I could go Gary Woodland and Bubba Watson and still feel very good about my path with Justin Thomas. So I think, though, I'm going to leave this range right there. So my decisions are going to be between Gary Woodland, Bubba Watson, and then, man, I mean, it's a stretch with them, but I might dabble in some tournaments with Brooks Koepka. I'm torn on Matt Wolf. I want to look into the injury a little bit more. If it's not serious at all, and if its feelings were hurt, I will definitely play him if that is the case. So, oh man, I'm gonna say for my 1 and 2, I'm gonna say Brooks Koepka, and then I was so high on Gary Woodland last week. I can't just like go off of him. So I'm gonna say Gary Woodland and Brooks Koepka for me. Hoop 1 and 2.
Definitely Harmon, and then Gary Woodland.
Uncle T.
Yeah, for me, my number one for sure in this tier is going to be Bubba Watson. I think actually, like I said, I think he's got a little bit of win equity this week, and he could make one of my core plays. So look out. We'll have a lot of our core plays and tiers up probably by tomorrow evening in our recaps on the on RPS's site. So look out for those. But my second, it's probably between Woodland and Siwoo Kim at this point. I'm not really sure. I'll probably lean Siwoo Kim at this point as my number 2 guy in that range.
Gotcha. If you haven't yet, press that like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to bring this to you for free. And if you are not a member, use the code Workbench21 to get 25% off your first price. We're going to have a ton of NFL content. We're going to destroy golf this week. And we're going to continue to run pure with NBA. Let's go down to the 7K range. I'm going to kick it to you, Hoop. Let's switch it up this week. I mean, we're going to be, should we just tackle the whole range? I mean, it's not too big. Yeah, let's just dive into the whole 7K range.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, I like those guys at the top quite a bit. Didn't really like the 9K range, didn't love the 8K range. Man, do I love this 7K range. I got a lot of guys that I'm going to be going to, which, makes it easy for me to get overexposed to guys like Rum and JT at the top. The first guy I really like is Corey Connors, 7.9K. He's been very solid lately. I mean, you look at these results, he's got a 17, T61, but then you go T8, 24th, 10th, 17th, 37th. I think he might be kind of making that leap. So I really like Corey Connors. It's a good course for him. Our boy Sammy Burns, really burned us that first round out of the gate at the American Express, 77, but came back with the 66. Played pretty well last week, finished T18. I'm going right back to our boy Sammy Burns, and I feel good about it. A couple guys in this mid-7 range that have just been playing solid golf lately that I'm going to take some chances on over some of those guys in the 8K range. Norlander, last 2 events, T12, T2. He's only 7.5K. Maybe he's getting hot. I'm gonna ride it this week and see. Next guy, 7.5K as well. Chris Kirk, a guy that's been playing well, T2, T16. I'm going to take a chance on these guys down here so I can play those ROMs, so I can play those JTs at a higher clip. Come down, Luke List, another guy that's been playing well. I was real heavy on him last week. It worked out quite well. He fired that big round in the 4th round, on Sunday. I think he was, 6 under when everyone was kind of struggling, just kind of going through the motions. Put up a nice score, and he offers a lot of upside because he can make those birdies. John Hutt was a guy that we were on. Didn't fare all that well last week, but made the cut and, grinded it out for us. I mean, there were some tough conditions last week, so a lot of guys did struggle. So I'll be on Hutt again this week. Sup Straka at 7-1 is a guy I'm going to play. Adam Long, I'm going to have some exposure to at 7-1. Wyndham Clark at 7-1. I'm going to have another guy that's been playing pretty well. I mean, 23rd, 50, 54th, 30, 32nd. Like I'm fine with that at 7.1K. I will be on Munoz again at 7.1K. I'm just going to take chances on these dudes, and I feel pretty good about some of them, but, I'm not playing many guys in the 9K range. I'm not playing many guys in the 8K range. I'm trying to get big on Rom. I'm trying to get big on JT. And this is the way you do it. You play these guys in this range, and it's kind of like a bonus, too, because you come down here, and it's usually a mixed bag of results from these dudes in this range. They've been up, they've been down. there's a lot of guys that have been playing steady golf for 2-3 weeks here. I'm going to take some chances on them. I like them. So yeah, it's kind of the route I'm going this week, getting heavy on those guys at the top and then coming down, and I'm going to mix and match with a lot of these 7K guys that I feel pretty good about.
So I was listening really closely, Hoop, and I got to ask you, about this one guy. You didn't mention him, and I was really surprised. Your boy Jordan Spieth, 7,500. He's almost under 7K now. Talk to me about Spieth. Are you playing Spieth this week?
You know my response to that. No, thank you. I'm not going to be playing Mr. I mean, these guys all around him are just like so much better. It is crazy. It is hard to watch too. A guy that like just fall. A guy that was contender at majors for so many years, and now we can't play him in this moderate field at 7.5K. It's a tough scene, but no, thank you.
He is 7,500 and projected to be 1.5% owned. And we know who's going to take up all of that ownership. I mean, I probably know, but
yes.
I agree with you about this range in its entirety. There's so many good plays. Uncle T, talk to us about the guys that you're on.
Yeah, Jordan Spieth, he's sitting at 4 under par, I think, with maybe 7 or 8 holes left on the back 9 on Friday, and he makes 4 bogeys coming in to miss the cut. So we almost had at least a made cut for Jordan, but it wasn't meant to be. But it's a little bit similar to Hoop. I love this range. I'm going to really live in this range again. I like a couple guys all the way at the top. I like Danny Berger and I like Bubba Watson in the next couple tiers. But other than that, I'm not going to have a ton of exposure of the guys we've talked to about previously because I like this range so much. And if we're going to tackle it together, there's a lot to mention. I mean, Max Homa, he's been trending up. He's a California guy. I think he got his putting figured out over the break. I mentioned that on either last week's show or the week before that. I really like Max Homa. He's going to carry a little bit of ownership. Kind of don't like that. It's trending upwards of 16, 17%. Couldn't agree more on Corey Connors. Always a good, I think top 10 strokes gained off the tee and approach, which obviously are the two markers that we like this week. So all in on not all in, but really like Corey Connors. Jason Day clearly can't click. Carlos Ortiz is interesting. I think he was in the second to last group or maybe the last group on Sunday and kind of faded a little bit, but played pretty well. Sammy Burns, I'm going to be in on. I just think at the value, 7,700 for a guy like Burns that, again, he's a good driver of the golf ball. He's going to get it down in there, and he can get hot with the putter, so I like him a lot. As you go down, Cam Champ a couple weeks ago was 8,900. Last week, 7,900. This week, 76. So, his price keeps going down, and on a course where he can hit driver, if he can have a good driving week and maybe again get hot on the greens, like I keep saying, at $7,600, I think is a decent value on him. As we go down, Norlander's the guy that's interesting for me. He's probably similar to Hideki and Woodland. I think it could be a tough fade for me because I could easily see those guys playing well, but you can't play everybody. And I'm making a stand actually this week to not play Norlander. He's getting a lot of traction. I've heard a lot of people talk about him on the, the pods and things that we listen to and kind of keep an eye on through the week. And, again, a good play, just not for me. The guy I will go to is 7,400, Brendan Steele. I think, a couple weeks ago, he finished 4th when he should have probably won that tournament. I like him on courses, one that he plays well at. Similar to Bubba, you got them courses where certain guys play well every year. He wasn't too good the last couple of trips there to Arizona, but he was good before that. And I like courses where he can hit driver. Again, he hits it long. So I'm going to take a chance on Brendan Steele. And then after that, you guys, here's one I think you guys are going to get on me about. I'm back on the Benny On train, I think. I think I might go to Benny On this week. Sitting down there at 7,300, got great course history. Not a great finish last week, but made the cut and then finished 8th the week before. So I might try to catch lightning in a bottle with Benny. Obviously, he's a horrible putter, but again, I don't think you need to putt tremendous here to be in contention or at least have a good finish. So I like him. I don't mind the Luke List call that Hoop mentioned. He's going to carry a little bit or a lot more ownership than he did last week. 7,200, still a good price. As we go down, I thought about Wyndham Clark, but I think I've kind of soured on him a little bit as the day's gone. Because I like Munoz a little bit right below him. And then Martin Laird would probably be the last guy that I talk about, 7K. Just think that, again, pretty good course history. He's a guy that hits the ball pretty well, pretty straight. So a lot of guys to like in this range. I'm going to be living in this range. And, sometimes guys in chat, people are like, how many guys in the 7K range, or in Discord, you'll get asked, how many is too many guys in the 7K range? Normally, I don't like to play more than 2, but I think when you get a lot of this value and ownerships for the most part spread out, and there's so many good plays like Coop and I mentioned, I don't mind playing 3 guys in this area, which normally I don't like to do, but this week I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, and just to add on to that point, a lot of it has to do with what you're doing at the top. Like AP mentioned, he's gonna, he might potentially lock in Justin Thomas. If you lock in Justin Thomas, you need to be in this range quite a bit. You don't have a choice. And I'm kind of leaning the same route that AP is, where I'm gonna play those guys at the top pretty heavily. So, you're forced to be down here, and to me, it's a good week to be forced to be down here because I think there's a lot of solid plays.
Yeah, for me in this range, I think my favorite play overall is going to be Max Homa, 7,900. He's not going to pop in a lot of models. Here's the thing with this guy. I think you both would agree. He goes on these streaks where when he's missing cuts, you just want to stay away. Like, he is an absolute disaster. When he's making cuts, he's usually kind of in contention. I mean, if we look at recently, T18 last week, T21, T12 before that, and he's made 2 cuts here in back-to-back years, T26 and T6 last year. You got to think he's probably feeling very good about his game. I like the price. I think he's priced up higher than where we usually see him at, and so I think that's going to keep ownership somewhat down. But I think he's going to end up being one of my favorite plays in this range. I have a ton of interest in Carlos Ortiz. He's been playing really good. Can't remember the last time he missed a cut. I don't think he's missed a cut since his win, which is pretty incredible. And he's made 3 out of the last 4 cuts here at TPC Scottsdale. So got a bunch of interest in Ortiz. And then for me, it's going down to this lower 7K range. John Huh, like Hoop mentioned, he's been playing very well. I have interest in him. Luke List, you got me on him last week. He was, did exceptional, even though it didn't really matter for me, but he played very well. So I got interest in him. Emiliano Grillo, missed a cut last week. Good ball striker, can't putt. He's cheap, but I don't know if I can do it. I want to, the other thing I want to do is keep my player pool really defined, really small. And so I'm going to fade a lot of guys in this range, even though, I agree with Uncle T, a lot of playable, guys down in this range. I'm going to try to keep it to guys like Max Homa, Carlos Ortiz, Corey Connors, like you mentioned. And then down here, Steele, he's probably fine. But then I'm going to go with guys that have just been playing well. And actually, the one guy that I would be remiss if I didn't mention him, Sebastian Munoz. I think Hoop, you mentioned him. You're on him. He's just another one of those guys that's treated us pretty well. His game has been all over the map. But this is a guy that can rattle off birdies with the best of them. And so if he makes the cut, he's typically going to score pretty well. And I have a ton of interest in that since there are birdies to be had at this course. 7,100 just seems too cheap, too, for a guy that, he went through that stretch where he was just, he was playing really, really well. So for me, I'm going to say Max Homa is my 1. And then I'm going to say I'm going to go with Sebastian Munoz. Who? 1 and 2?
I really like this range. It's tough. I'm going to say our boy Sammy Burns is going to be my top 1. I'm going to say Connors, and I'm going to throw one more in there because I like this range quite a bit. Luke List, man, he runs hot and cold, and he's hot right now. So I want to be on. And the nice thing about List, even he's a guy that typically outscores his placement. So if he's, if he finishes 30, mid 30s, he can get up there and be like the 25th best fantasy play because he makes so many birdies. So like all those guys, and love this range.
Nice. Uncle T, 1 and 2.
Yeah, for me, I like the Homa call, but I'm going to go a couple different ways just to be different. Sam Burns and Corey Connors, and then I also like as a bonus Brendan Steele. Again, I like this range a lot more than probably you do, AP, but Connors, Burns, and really like Brendan Steele. So, and I agree with Hoop on the list thing call because again, he doesn't have to be great around the greens this week. He's just got to be good. So, I like those calls.
All right, fellas, we're running up on time here. Let's dive into the 6K range, and then let's finish it up with our winners. Hoop, I'm going to start with you. 6K range, where you at here?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, we just, between the three of us rattled off a ton of plays in the 7K range that we like. So, naturally, not going to be as many plays here in the 6K range. And that's the case this week. But there are some that I do like. Cameron Tringali at 6.9K, kind of following up with that theme of guys that have just been playing solid golf. I feel like he's really underpriced in this field, actually. Some good results lately. Last four, 29th, 3rd, 56th, and then 18th last week. So at 6.9K, I'm going to be on him. I mean, a guy that I've been riding quite a bit, Nick Taylor, and hasn't let us down yet, really. I mean, finished 47th last week. That's not great, but that's good for where he's at, where he's priced. I mean, that's outperforming his DK price. I'm going to just keep playing him. He's been solid. So I like him. Man, Doc Redman has been a stone disaster. I mean, I at that restart, remember he had a really solid stretch in the summer. If you would have told me at this point he'd be 6.6K, I would have told you you're freaking crazy. But he is 6.6K. I'll have a few shares. Like I have a hard time passing up on Doc Redman. I feel like he's skilled, but hasn't really got it. Another guy, Bo Hogue. I mean, he's been playing well. 16th, 17th the last 2 weeks, had a 23rd, had a 30th, 4 of his last 5 events. He's been top 30. He's 6.7K. He's going to be in my player pool this week. Richie Wierenski, I mean, you guys know the deal with him. I play him every week. He wasn't great last week, but made the cut. He's 6.6K. I'm going to be on him. That's kind of it for me. I mean, there might be some more guys that I end up getting on. I mean, Tyler Duncan, 6.4K. He's been pretty bad, but a guy that's flashed some upside. Those are the 4 or 5 guys that I'm probably going to play in this range.
Yeah, Doc Redman's putter has been an absolute disaster. Yeah. And look, like he's the first guy I noticed in this range. I think he's going to, get some ownership because 6,600 for a name down here. I think, when you look at these models, like everyone's, running their models and stuff, I think they're going to look at his ball striking form, which has been good. It's been decent, but everything else has been a disaster. His short game has been bad. His putter is really, really bad. And then if his course history here, T34 last year. So for me, like in tournaments, I agree with you. I probably just got to move off and hope he's higher owned and hope he misses another cut. Uncle T, 6K range. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I agree. But I agree with Hoop on Tringali, a guy that 6,900 makes a lot of cuts. Probably won't finish real high, but he's probably going to get you through the cut line. And if he throw up a top 30 or 35 at 6,900, you'll probably be okay with that. So don't mind him. One of my favorite players under 7K is Keegan Bradley. Don't have a whole lot of stats on Keegan to break down why I like him, but I just feel like he's pretty good off the tee. His strokes gained approach is generally pretty good, and he generally can't putt. So, the theme of my show tonight is I'm not really penalizing guys that aren't as good of putters. And normally we're on the opposite side. We like guys that can get hot with the putter. So I kind of like Keegan Bradley at 6,900. And as you go down, I kind of skip quite a few guys down to, I like James Hahn, some good course history with James Hahn. Missed the cut last week when a few people were on him, kind of popular in that range last week. Missed the cut. Maybe some guys will be off of him. Don't mind going back to James Hahn after one miscut. Kyle Stanley is a guy that I've kind of looked at throughout the day that I might sprinkle into some lineups. He's been pretty good with his irons, and I think he could outpay that or pay off that $6,700 tag. And then my take on Doc Redman, guys, is I usually down here in this range, if you got a guy like Redman who, like Hoop says, he's better than a $6,600 golfer. He just is. He hasn't played like it, but he's definitely a better than that. If he was going to come in maybe 8, 9, 10, 11% somehow in this range, I'd clearly fade him. but you're still going to get pretty low ownership at what, 2 or 3% on Doc Redman. I just feel like with the builds that I'm going to have this week, I'm definitely going to have some Doc Redman, not a core play for me, but definitely like Redman. And the other guy I'll mention also is at 6,500 is Tom Lewis. Again, just maybe a hunch. Finished 42nd last week, wasn't anything great, but he's a guy that I think that, again, at that price tag, could be a nice filler piece for lineups.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was just looking down in this range. Who did you mention Von Taylor at all? I know that was a guy.
No, I did not.
6,300. That's
63. I mean, yeah, there's some guys down here. I mean, another guy that I know, our boy Schneider, has been on quite a bit in the Showdown stuff. Robbie Shelton at 6.3K. Will Gordon's down. I mean, there's names down here. There's guys that I think are definitely playable. Your boy Nate Lashley's down
he
here.
He got third here last year too.
Uh-oh.
So honestly, if you go I'm honestly looking at a ROM Justin Thomas build. The way you make it work is punt, get a Will Gordon in there, a Von Taylor. I mean, look, like Von Taylor went through that stretch where he was playing really well. He's made some cuts. Like 6,300 is probably too cheap for him. I'm definitely going to mess around with some builds. I mean, honestly, if it's like a low 6-6 rate anyway, and if one of these guys misses, like it's not killing you that much, depending on how many people get 6-6 builds through. For me in this range, I agree with you guys. I was really struggling. And honestly, like Ruinski, like he looked good last week. No one plays him at all. I mean, well, he looked good in the very first round, and then he kind of tapered off, but he made the cut. He's a guy I was looking at. I know he's your guy, but man, I think you're right. I think he's a good golfer that just always flies under the radar. James Hahn has been someone that has been playing good. He finally missed a cut last week. I think we can go back to him this week. He's got a good track record here. Uncle T, Keegan Bradley, that call is interesting. Coming off 2 missed cuts. I think I was on him at the Sony. It did not work out. He's cheap though, and he's a good ball striker. Terrible putter. So for me, like this range, I think it's really tough. I think there are a few plays, but like when I'm looking at this range right now, I don't see a ton of separation between our guys down here, like Adam Shank, Von Taylor, Robbie Shelton, compared to, Harry Higgs and, James Hahn, some of these guys in the upper 6K range. So like when I look at this range, I'm not going to like try to zero out my bill, my salary. If I end up on a Nate Lashley over someone else, like I'm just going to roll with it. Nate Lashley, he hasn't been good of late, but he played very well here last year. He's a PGA Tour winner, good ball striker, good iron player. And so a guy like that, that's kind of how you can win a tournament. And then, man, the other thing too, when I think about this event, usually we have a stacked leaderboard here too. We saw a stacked leaderboard last week. I think we're going to see a lot of the big guns up top. I really think we're going to see like a John Rahm and Justin Thomas battling it out. So I'm going to be keeping that in mind when I'm building my lineups as well. For me in this range, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to say James Hahn, just because I've been on him and he's treating me well outside of last week. And then, my 2, it's tough. I think what I'll do is try to find one punt to see if that double stud build works. And it might be like a Nate Lashley or one of those guys. So who's your 1 and 2 in this range, or just one if you think it's just a disaster down here?
No, I mean, I think there's definitely some plays. I mean, my favorite by far is Tringali. I just think he's better than 6.9K in this field. And then my second is I'm going to keep riding Nick Taylor, and I feel good about it. Nick Taylor has treated me and a lot of RPS members well, and I think he does it again this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I might have to just ride those plays with you and steal them from you. Nick Taylor, I mean, man,
I want the
Uncle
mojo.
T.
I want the mojo of the 50K winner on my side.
Let's do it.
You can
Let's
play
do
all
it.
my guys. Let's go.
Uncle T, talk to me about this range.
Yeah, one quick thing, AP, you mentioned if you were able to somehow go double stud. Our boy Snyder in the chat, and I had a note to talk about this guy briefly, and I forgot. Davis Riley, 6.1K. He's a Corn Ferry guy, really long off the tee. You know what I mean? He's mint priced. He's probably definitely a boomer bust, obviously being out there with the big boys probably for the first time. But Davis Riley, 6.1K, if you wanted to try to do that, you already mentioned Lashley. You could probably find a couple guys down in there that might work in the build, but it's not going to be for me. But the two guys I like in this range for sure, Keegan Bradley, 6,900. I just feel like sometimes he'll show up at these events. He's got, decent course history, not great, but decent course history there. And again, I like some of the stat items that I'm looking at this week, and he pops a little bit for me. And the other guy is Doc Redman. I just feel like he's just too cheap, and I feel like his turn to the good as far as playing good golf is coming, and I hope it's this week at that price.
I almost got through without doing it. I was muted. Man, guys, I gotta real quick. I gotta put something out there for the bet side. Man, you see this Clippers Nets score? So
Yeah,
I threw a 2-unit play, which just means I'm going double my normal play on over 242.5, and I get a DM from a guy who's just like, how can you take an over bet on a number that high? It's too high. The optimal bet is always unders. And I was just like, fuck that. And this game, I'm like, look at both sides.
Just went over.
Just went over, man. So that was close. It was, anyway, just too much offensive firepower there. I mean, it is what it is. I don't even think it was that fast of a pace game. Just a lot of offensive firepower, a ton of fun. Guys, let's talk about our winners. Let's do what we do each week. Uncle T, you got your winners lined up?
Yeah, for me, I do like, again, Rahm up top, and he could easily win, but I don't want to take the easy way out and go up top. I'm gonna go with Daniel Berger. I feel like his time's coming, and I think he's going to be a multiple winner this year in 2021. I just think he's too good of a golfer. He's too consistent. He's in the mix all the time. And I just think this course is a good fit for him. He's rested. He's ready to go. I like Daniel Berger up top as my winner. And then as you go down a little bit further, I like Sam Burns. I know he got his feet wet last week and was in that second to last group, I guess it was, on Sunday, and didn't play well at all. I think he 4-putted the first hole on Sunday and then had a 3-putt a few holes later. So if you take out those 2 holes, he's a solo second last week, and I know that's a big if, but I think Burns is close, and I'll take him at that low or a high price.
Yeah, I like that. And man, I was looking at. Yeah, you're right. Like, Rahm is 6-1, Justin Thomas is 8-1. Like, if you're betting golf winners, like, it's not like good odds at all to take, even though they're the likely winners. It's brutal. Hoop, what about you?
Yeah, I was looking at Berger, but Uncle T.
Come on in, Hoop. You can come on
in. I'm with you. I will say I'm with you. I am with you. I'm with you. I'm in there with you. Whatever you want to say, I'm there with you. But I think Jon Rahm wins. Like you said, I hate to take the easy way out, but this is a field where I feel come Sunday, you're going to see the big boys at the top. And that's typically the case, man. These guys are good. So give me Rahm at the top, and then a little lower, I'm going to be in the same range as Uncle T, but I'm going to go Corey Connors, who I think we all kind of like. And I think he takes a big leap this year and kind of enters that next tier of guys. So give me him as a long shot.
You guys are going to make fun of me. But I think I'm going to throw a bet on this, actually. Man, we got to test out the mojo. We got to test it out. I'm going Brooks Koepka, 45 to 1. Brooks Koepka, our boy BK, he's going to turn it around. He's looking in the mirror, and he's tired of sucking. I can just, I mean, I don't have any vibes. It is what it is. I
Hey,
just think
maybe if his lady was tired of sucking, he'd be better on the course.
we gotta see if she's not there. We gotta check.
It's definitely a
Instagram.
key.
If she's not
You definitely
there,
gotta find that. I bet him at 45-1 to make the cut, maybe not to win the tournament.
I mean, I would put all the money I have, a 45-1 to make a cut.
I'm
Brooks
kidding.
Koepka?
Yeah.
I know. If his lady is not there, I'm definitely getting overweight. And I'm serious, guys. I just think it's. I know it's crazy. He hasn't been good, but look, he's such a good golfer. He's going to turn it around. And I'm willing to take some risks there. The other guy, man, I was surprised when I looked, and I got to check a few other books. But Max Homa 80-1. I thought we could get a price maybe 100-1 or something like that on Max Homa, but that's encouraging with where the books have him, if that is the case. I really like him this week. He's a winner on tour, and when he is rolling like this, I mean, he gives us a ton of upside. Let's just recap Hoop. Overall final thoughts on this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're all on similar plays, which it's pretty encouraging. I mean, I know when Big T and myself are on the same page, things usually work out well. So we're going to test it with the knee. Maybe it's a knee house family thing. We'll see. When Hoop and the knee houses combine, good things happen. So I might up my play a little bit this week, because I'm feeling good that Uncle T has my back. But come Sunday, I think we see some of these big names, and it's the guys that we mentioned like I said, on Sunday. I think we see them at the top of the leaderboard. That's why that 7K range is so crucial this week. And that's where I'm going to be living and dying in that 7K range, and feeling good this week.
Uncle T, final thoughts.
Good to have Hoop on board with me for sure. We're going to get him out of that rut that he's been in the last 2 weeks with golf. We're going to get him in the winner's circle this week. And again, guys, you guys know I'm a huge golf guy, and I just love this time of year. It's just, again, there's some great tournaments coming up, some fun tournaments, and some courses that are, again, they're a lot of fun to watch on TV. And, it's going to be a fun couple months, and leading right into the Masters. So looking forward to, being on here every week with you guys and breaking it down for the people.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't have said it any better, Uncle T. So with that, let's get out of here, guys. Again, if you are not a member, use the code Workbench21. It's going to get you 25% off your first price that you pay with us. We have tons of content coming out for the Super Bowl. We got tons of NBA content, premium content, core plays, all that jazz, tons of shows and everything. I mean, just come on board, come check us out. And with me, AP, Hoop, Uncle T, let's run Pew this week.